Welcome, homies. I'm Truist Armour. This is the Intergalactic podcast. I'm here with
your boy T from the P.
Honorable Philosophy Flaw.
T from the P and Philosophy Flaw. All right, so it's been a while. We had a pretty good sort of hiatus, about 14 days, I'd say. No, maybe 10 days. Some family stuff. We wish you guys had a good July 4th if you're in America. Hot dogs, hamburgers, flag waving, all that good stuff. Family and friends getting together.
Yeah. I had
to get each other craziness.
I had a real good time.
Good. What you do?
Good time. Got to see the fireworks.
Nice.
My old boss from landscaping had a little big cookout.
Nice.
You know, they had a little karaoke, nice music.
Right.
It was real nice.
See, if we can get that kind of energy without the drama every day, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
What you do, Philosophy?
I kicked.
Because I was there with you, so go ahead.
I chilled. Well, the weekend we had a little family barbecue. Kicked it. Actually, my niece had a birthday. She turned 1. We went to that. Then we went to a little family barbecue.
The girls graduated.
The girls graduated.
That wasn't exactly
yeah.
July 4th, but that was about 5 or 6 days before that. Maybe a week before that.
Yep.
So we want to big them up.
Oh, yeah,
my nieces, cousins.
Congrats.
Congrats. They did it big.
Doing big things.
Good, man. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
We went to Mount Trashmore and watched the fireworks.
Yeah.
Finale.
Yeah.
Our local park for the fireworks.
I ain't really had to go nowhere. We seen them at the house.
Mm-hmm.
Is it dark back there, you guys? You want some light? Am I missing something? Well, I probably should have lit that one.
Mm-hmm.
So this week, I'm gonna get up and shift these lights on. You know what? It's probably lighter before. Anyway, this week we had a new Supreme Court nominee, I guess. I know you guys don't follow politics, but we're gonna get you politically acute by the time these podcasts are over, and these podcasts are never going to be over. They're just going to branch out. You two will eventually have one in like a year, I hope. So, yeah, let's get to it. This guy looks great on paper, right? He's somebody that you want to be your, I guess, Supreme Court nominee. But all his boys are the sketchiest dudes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He strikes me as like the guy behind the scenes who never lost your bale of weed or your money or whatever. So in the cut of like the drug dealers or the Panthers or whatever group that I'm trying to get a metaphor about, he should to be part of all the stuff that those dudes are, but always clean, right? So now he's a Supreme Court justice. So, well, not yet. I'll give him a week, and give him a week, give him like a few months. I feel that you got 9 Supreme Court justices. People want better health care, better this, better that, better payment, and these guys want none of that. So I know you guys aren't politically engaged as I'd like you to be, but if you could put together a team to fix the country on the Supreme Court, whoever they are, right? Let's say you got three people, exactly, and you can put them on the Supreme Court.
Put them on the Supreme Court.
Like Philosophy, who you want up there? You say who? Who do you like? Who thinks a certain way? That
as in politics.
It could be anything that you like the way his mind works. So you put him up there, and if they go, that cop shot that lady, no matter if he's a rapper or an entertainer, you've heard him speaking up, but you put him up there, and he would not, embarrass. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Because how our
it's a
thought
couple
process
people,
are not like yeah.
It's a couple people that now. When you ask that question, I feel like would I want them up there because I like them, or would I want them up there because
put them up there. No caveats.
Okay,
put them up there for whatever reason you like them. We're not giving you, they don't have to be this or that or the best. You know, granted, they're all lawyers. Here's a weird thing. On the Supreme Court, you don't even have to be a lawyer. They've all been lawyers, but they could like what I'm saying, like, and think that you're this just great person that everybody in the country likes, and they found you someplace. That happens occasionally. Yeah. Like the way your mind works, you wrote a couple of books and never went to college, and they put you on there, and you end up being one of the. So who would that be? Because I was thinking about this.
One person I would put up there. I can't say what order I would, but one person I would put up there. I would put Charlemagne up there.
Charlemagne the God?
Yep. Simply because I like the way that he asks questions.
Right.
And and he gets straight to the point, and it's not like he doesn't ask questions like, am I going to offend you? Or should I say that he asks questions that we want to know the answers to?
I could go with that.
Oh, okay.
You know
so he's asking questions that if you go up there, you would go, that's a, right. Okay.
Yeah, so so when we have a conversation, it's like you don't want to really offend somebody, but I would put Charlemagne up there because I like the way he interviews people.
He will ask
questions.
what it is.
Yeah.
He don't care.
I would put Dave Chappelle up there. I like the way Dave Chappelle mind works.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Chappelle is a good person, a good candidate too.
Think so? You're Dave Chappelle?
I say for it, and I say Mike Epps.
Mike Epps? Really?
Mike
Epps.
Epps.
I haven't heard from Mike Epps in a minute.
Well, Mike Epps. Mike, I'm see when I think about it, I'm thinking about people that would give us something. Like Mike Epps is cool for what he does. He's a comedian, but I wouldn't be following him. I wouldn't want to follow him. You know what I mean? Like as far as like my life
as a comedian, he's sort of a trans. I'm about to say transcendental. He's more of a
he's in tune with what's going on.
He's a little beyond a comedian. He's almost a philosopher. Like I tell people this all the time. In 1,000 years, no one's going to be caring about a lot of these stand-up comics who I like, you know. But people like George Carlin and Dave Chappelle and Lenny Bruce, people who talked about the culture and how people reacted within the culture, people will look back on that versus the guy who's funny. Don't get me wrong.
Somebody like
smoking weed and having a joint.
Most Def.
I like what his mind was. Most Def.
You know what I mean?
Can't believe I didn't come up with that.
And Common for real.
Common.
Yeah.
You like Common?
Yeah, Common's
a huge fan of Common. I like
him, but I can see him being
like if you hear some of his songs and how he's talking,
very conscious.
I say Common. Yeah.
And he's from Chicago, so he got something to be conscious about.
James, I forget his name. Baldwin say to be. I'm a paraphrase because I don't have the quote in front of me. But to be awake, to be woke and black in America is to be perpetually in a rage. You know, it's this idea of you see stuff, you just can't be like, meh, it happens. Oh well, they shot another kid and it happened. You have to be like, God, what the, you know, and that perpetual. I think a lot of people are losing that. So yeah,
the funny thing is
Charlemagne, Chappelle, Most Def, and Common.
The old Kanye would have made the list.
I'm
not gonna lie. The old Kanye would have made the list.
Old.
The new Kanye too.
I don't know. See, I wouldn't say no off the rip, but he would be kind of. He would have to prove to me that he's right again.
DMX.
DMX all cracked out. He's been cracked out for 20 years.
The old DMX.
The old DMX was cracked out.
Nah.
He was always cracked out.
He was always cracked out. But he didn't say anything he didn't say anything trans.
For speaking for us, I can see because he been from the bottom. Like I can see him being real, but you gotta be a real conscious, in tune with yourself type of dude.
You don't think he can do that?
Nah, man. DMX will break down, man.
Yeah.
Even I love DMX to the bottom of my car.
Like
you said, I love X.
I'm saying,
not saying nothing bad about X, but they'll set X
like,
up.
When he break down that, he's getting into it, like he's feeling it, like he's been through it. So that's something to talk about.
He's a ghetto superhero.
Exactly.
He's not a legit, like ghetto, I couldn't see DMX. Nothing about DMX says legit. Now he might give you that knowledge.
What about Nas?
Nas, I could go for all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a better rapper for me.
Yeah, Nas all day. I ain't gonna lie. And Jay.
Jay-Z, I could even go for Jay-Z simply because of, and I'm going to tell you why. And it's not even because of his consciousness, it's because of the way that he knows how to move.
His whole position, he's on record as saying, what did he say about Common? But I haven't been Common. What was it? I forgot the line. To me, I sold 5 mil and I ain't been ramen like Common said. Exactly. That line tells you I'm in it for the money and I don't really care about the people. But
for every person on the list, they're on for something different. I feel like because like Kanye would be on because of how much he feels like his heart. You know what I mean? He's so into stuff.
Come on,
now Kanye is not.
That College Dropout album for 10 years and I'm still burning it.
Exactly. And now Jay-Z, which I'm not disagreeing with you, is a heartless motherfucker. Like he's cold.
Right.
But when it comes down to certain things, he would because I feel like he does that to get in a certain place, but because you're putting him in that place, that high place already, he would look out for the hood. He would look out for the ghetto because
he's not doing that now.
Because he's trying to still go up, but we're putting him as a Supreme Court justice. He's already there, so now he wouldn't be trying to prove himself to people. He would do what he wants. He'd do what he actually would feel like doing.
Right.
Because he's a cold person, he doesn't really care enough to come out of his character to stop where he wants to go. You feel what I'm saying? But if you put him where he wants to be, he would definitely look out for the people under him because he wouldn't have nobody to prove himself to. You know what I mean? Because that's what he said. Like on one of his verses, he was like, until I'm up and up with the higher ups, you know what I mean? So we look at him like he's higher up, but he got people that's higher than him. But if you put him on a Supreme Court justice up there with the higher ups, he'd be good. You know what I mean? And he knows how to make money, and he knows how we feel.
Drug dealers know how to make money.
I mean,
strippers, prostitutes know how to make money. Just because you know how to make money. Well, no, hold on.
Okay.
The people who are selling drugs, it's one thing. In the old days, right? I remember the old drug dealers, right? Mm-hmm. There were lines you wouldn't cross. You wouldn't sell around schools. You wouldn't disrespect the preacher and the minister and
no women, no kids.
Exactly. They wouldn't get in your business. Now, like with the loosens the cats, they'll shoot up the school with the nuns holding the babies. Yeah. And get on Instagram and tell you they did it.
Ever since stronger drugs came out.
That's not stronger drugs. That's just bad homewear. People are just not serious.
Well,
there's something that you could not. I tell you, this is history now. When Dr. King was marching in, I want to say 58, 60, the Klan would pay young black teens to join the march. Mm-hmm. Excuse me, and then throw rocks at the cops.
Just to make it.
Exactly. So they call that false flag attack. Yeah. Right. So I would dress up as, if I'm going to say black people are violent to the cops, right? Yeah. I would dress. It's going to be hard. I don't think it'd be that hard. Yeah. But you get a black guy to throw rocks at the cops, and they go, "There's a black guy," or somebody brandish a gun, and you got to shoot it. There's a guy in it, so it gives the cops an excuse to do whatever they're going to do. Yeah. So I mean, people are out there who Dr. King was trying to, and these guys took peanuts to undo that march. Okay. So I mean, there are people out there who
adding on to where we came from.
Yeah.
The drugs are different. What I mean by that is, like, when back in the day they were selling heroin, cocaine, powder cocaine. Yeah, you know what I mean. There was no such thing as a heroin baby. I mean, there was, but it wasn't like talked about like when crack babies will start being born. Now, when you a crack baby, that does not just follow you as a baby. That's your whole life. Your whole mental is off, even when you're a grown up, for no reason.
That's the same thing with drugs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Stronger drugs have stronger effects, which make people looser. You feel what I'm saying? So when you look at it, like, even back in the day, when you like when you said they was no women, no kids, they was heroin addicts, which is a downer. Because you're going to take some heroin and nod off somewhere and fall out. And the only thing somebody do is find you somewhere in the corner. Yeah. But you smoke crack, they're going to find you in the middle of the street, punching out windows, trying to snatch people out the car, PCP or something like that. You know what I mean? So it makes the environment more wild.
That implies that all these wild people are drug addicts in the community. Hold on. Are drug addicts in the community. I reject that.
Not true.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
I'm in the middle.
Okay, go ahead.
I think that a lot of these people, as Ma used to say, have no home training.
Very true.
The term home training
Very true.
is emblazed in like my head like a graffiti mural.
Yeah.
Like it's like 60 feet tall and 200 feet wide. It's like
Very
home training. There are guys in my life that I wanted to punch in the mouth.
Yeah.
No, because of home training, right? Just because you get angry and you wanna, the most I'll do is you'll push you to a point and you'll get cursed out, right?
Yeah.
Some people, you don't even get to the push or point phase. It's all violence and nonsense, and then it becomes grandstanding about the violence and the nonsense, and then you become famous. There's a guy I grew up with who was hood famous, and we called him Kid Crime.
Yeah.
And his adventures are legendary growing up. Just ridiculous. Some stuff he did to people, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
We could sit on it. But, even as I'm watching it as a train wreck, there's no way I'm endorsing that. There's no way I'm doing that. There's no way,
And I look at it like, and this is just me personally, to have home training, when you really look at it, to have home training, you have to have a home. Like, a lot of these people are raised by wolves. Like, they going from place to place, living in hotel to hotel. They don't.
Everybody.
No. I'm just going.
Have nice houses just like you, and they just don't care.
Now those people. Now I don't understand those people. Yeah,
exactly.
I understand now
exactly
I
don't always blame this on drugs or bad.
True.
Some people just
now when I'm
work.
talking about the people that are poor now. When I start getting on like the drugs and stuff like that.
Look,
now,
let me be clear. The people that I'm going to let you finish.
Okay,
but the people I'm talking about generally are what I call even keel people, right? So people who came up because their mother did drugs and then they got to get weed or heroin. I don't blame those people because they, but I'm talking about people who your mom wasn't abusive, wasn't drug. They just phoned in the work. They just let TV raise you.
A lot
and
of
then
times,
you, common sense person, decided to walk down that path of wildness. Now, some people end up in a wild place, and I feel bad for those people, and
well, I feel like,
but I understand, and I feel bad for those people. I should probably swing the camera over there next time.
A lot of times,
I wonder if I can do that now.
No, I wouldn't do it right now. But a lot of times, what happens is people are. This is just me. That's how I feel. There's no right way to be brought up. So even though, what I'm saying, there is a right. There's okay. There is a proper way to be brought up, but there's not a right way. So a proper way is home. You getting baths 3 meals a day. Nobody's beating you.
You get yelled at if you do something wrong.
Exactly.
You get corrected when needed to be.
Exactly.
You get encouraged.
Exactly. That's a proper way to be brought up.
Exactly.
But at the end of the day, some people get 4 out of 5 of those things. Some people get 3 out of 5. Some people get none. You know what I mean? Exactly. So from the outside, it might look like, oh, he got 2 parents. He got a good house.
Exactly. He don't got to be into left and right.
On the inside of the house, they just fighting. Nobody's paying attention to him. He might get all of the clothes, but you just you fought out to deal with your own world. So a lot of times I look at it like everybody has their own struggles. So
while that is true, I used to tell my exes all the time. There is something known as the communal, I forgot the word, but the communal ground.
You're right.
Once when I come home, the first thing I do is take my pants off, right? I don't know why, I take my pants off. I never take my shirt off, and I'm walking around in my boxers, right? Mm-hmm. My boxers and my bare feet. Mm-hmm. That, to me, for some reason, I've always associated that with home and being comfortable. Exactly. Dad didn't do that. Yeah. He had a wife in the house full of kids. He can't walk around in his boxers, right? Yeah, exactly. So, for some reason, I associate that with comfortableness. Yeah. My ex, when she came, the first thing she would do, she had this Cookie Monster shirt. So she would take off her bra and put on her Cookie Monster shirt. You get comfortable. And her comfy sweats. And that was her flow, right? Yeah. None of that is right or wrong inside your house. Exactly. Right? But once you go out to the Walmart, out
some
to
kids'
the
parents
ground,
walked around
you
naked.
can't be walking out with your
You know what I mean? And I like
true.
that. Like, is that right? You can't say it's
but
not.
see,
You can't.
But here's the thing: you can't say that's right or wrong.
Exactly.
In a house, granted.
Exactly.
But once you hit the communal area,
yeah, exactly.
the common ground,
Yes, you need
your
those on.
child should be able to leave the house.
Yes, and
with
understand
enough mental cohesion and correctness
Exactly.
and discipline,
Right.
not to embarrass the family. There used to be like a family, don't embarrass the family, don't.
And that's
the name your father gives you should be respected.
You so
that,
right.
All that is. So now
so
people are
right.
like,
because there was a lot of
Go
things.
ahead.
You right about what you on track with something, because a lot of kids feel like the way that they act at their house is the way that they can act in the world, and it's a whole different. Your house,
it's street clothes and church clothes.
Exactly.
You don't play in your church clothes. You get in here and you change those clothes.
Exactly.
Put on your, back when you were 7 or 8.
So it was like it's just like anything else with kids. But see, your parents are supposed to teach you from the house, because your parameter gets bigger as you get older.
That's
so you
true.
go from the house, never leaving the house with your parents or whatever, to going to school, going to elementary school.
Right.
Then you might be familiar with your block. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
But then when
exactly.
you go to middle school, you familiar with the neighborhood. You know what I mean?
Right.
You might go to the mall by yourself or something like that. Your parameter gets big. So you have to understand that the way that you act at elementary school ain't the way that you can act in middle school, because the people in your entire neighborhood might not know you, but the people on your block might can deal with you.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like you have to adjust the more that you go out, and then when you actually hit the world, which means like leaving your city, going to other places like that. That's
people
when
who are not from your
exactly
part of the village or whatever.
Exactly,
right?
where people are not going to tolerate your
right,
bull.
Exactly.
So you have to know how to deal with that, and I feel like parents have to teach kids how to adjust. You're right about that.
Right, yeah.
You're right. So if that's what you're right, if that's home training, is technically training your kids how to act when they leave your house.
Exactly.
Because you can let them do whatever they want to do at the house, but when they leave the house, hey,
exactly.
These people do not think you cute. They don't think you funny.
They
you know what I
don't
mean?
love
That's
you
real,
like
though.
Exactly.
And on top of that, just the pragmatics of it. I don't have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for a court case for you. Don't be ridiculous outside.
And my
yes,
mom,
Dad. Yes, Mom.
Exactly. That's all my mama had to tell me.
Sometimes it's brass tacking. It's like,
right.
don't make me spend money on you.
Exactly.
I had to leave work to come and deal with this. That's my time.
Yeah, that's how my mama was.
Yeah,
Man.
I had to leave work
I had my
to
mama
come
where
and
my
work.
pot was.
You know what? We're trying to get you home. And I'm like,
If your mama had to leave work, you already know
exactly.
what it was.
And the
a
next
wrap.
time I'm like,
You was in
next
trouble.
time I'm like, man, I'm a hot. But the first in the back of my head, on the back burner, I'm like, I remember her having to leave work. I'm like,
Exactly.
you could have got one, but
That's
for
it.
whatever reason, I'm getting out of this. I'm doing something else. You know,
Exactly.
I remember coming home when I was real young.
Exactly.
I was supposed to be home by 6. I think I came home at like 8. But I didn't know where I was. I mean, like burnt me down in front of all the dudes.
Exactly.
And, you're trying to be a man and all this, and you're like, yeah, you
And
got your car punched, now you got to go inside.
Yeah.
And it's still young enough to not be able to play with the Xbox, the Atari, not be able to go out on the weekends because... And now your friends are like knocking the door. Can Sean come out and play?
Exactly.
No,
You
he
out
can't
there,
come out
man.
and play.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Looking out the window.
You be sick, man. You be sick. You be like,
You want to be on punishment?
Mom, please.
I know a dude who got
Yeah. I
the
know what
whole
them days,
summer.
man. I
It was
used-
like 1 week, 2 week, they gonna let him. The whole
You be like-
summer.
You
And
be like,
It was a
Mom,
wrap.
you be like, Mom,
like, damn.
I washed the dishes for a year.
Yeah.
If you let me go outside, I'll clean the whole house. She be like, get out of my face. You be so happy you free. You feel like you out of a bed, boy.
Exactly.
And what you do is you will inch it. You'll be like, man, come to my house. I'm going to just chill on the
Yeah,
porch. You know? Your mom don't say nothing about you being on the porch. You be like, oh, shit, I'm on the porch. Yeah, exactly. You be like, Mom, I'm going to the basketball court. No, you'll go to the house, try to try it. You'll try it. You be like, yo, I'm going to the basketball court. She like, all right, you know you good. Now you like, yo, let me get the bike about. That used to be the days. I ain't gonna
That's
front.
home training.
Yeah, you're right.
That's when your mom knew that she could let you out in the world.
You're right.
And if you didn't come back or call, then something was seriously wrong.
Right.
Versus
But you have to deal with kids according to the way that kid is, because like certain kids, you can whip them, that don't mean anything. You can put certain kids, you can put on punishment and that don't mean anything.
Yeah, you have to know what gets them. Some people can deal with pain. Exactly. I tell people, some little kids can deal with pain. They don't care about a spanking.
Exactly.
They don't care.
Exactly.
Other kids
I used to
can't deal with being emotionally,
I'd take a whooping to go outside to play. Yeah, I'd be like, my mom would be like, yo, you can get a whooping or be on punishment. I'd be like, yo, come on with this. I say, hurry up with this. So I can get on back outside. She'd be like, you crazy as I don't know what. I'd be like, it is what it is. But she'll make me stay in the house for a day. I feel like I'm dying. Yeah. I'd be like, I'm so bored. She'll get tired of looking at me.
But sometimes they run through everything.
Boy,
and then
go outside.
Then it becomes a game of I can outweight you, kind of like, or
the punishment can't be a torture, because after a certain, even if you tell them, like, I feel like you could tell your kid you're gonna be on punishment. It depends on what they done.
No, it also depends on how. Now, mind you, I raised no kids, but it also depends, I think, on how you acclimate them. Not only knowing them, but how you acclimate them to the punishment, right? So. If this becomes just this,
it can't be torture.
Against you.
Yeah, it can't be torture. That's what I'm saying.
It becomes like you're in Stolic 17. It's like, well, I'm just going to wait out the jailers. Exactly. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not smoke, but I'm not going to do whatever the jailers want me to do. I'm a prisoner of war. And wait till I hit 18. I'm out of here. And you're never going to see me again.
Exactly.
And you get that too. So
my dad used to tell me. My dad used to be like, "Go in your room and don't come out." And I had to go in my room, and he used to. But see, the good thing about my dad is, one thing I can say about my dad is, I no lie, he might have whipped your ass 100 times, but if he whipped you 100 times, he talked to you 200 times. Yeah. And when I say talk to you, you'd rather get an ass whooping than to get talked to, because he gonna talk to you for like 45 minutes after you got your ass whooped, and you don't even want to look at him. You know what I mean? Like, just get out. I mean, but that's one thing I can say about my dad. Like, he wouldn't just beat your ass and leave you like, yo, fuck him, I'll kill him. Exactly.
Like, you feel like they're hitting you because they had a crappy day and they had nothing to do with you.
Exactly. So you felt like you got your ass whooped because
and then you learn to hit people. Exactly. And then you're this. True. And then all of a sudden you're 19 and a fight and a problem, and your parents are going, I don't know how he got this way.
Exactly.
Really?
Because you could be stern, but I feel like you got to give out just as much love.
You want a doctor or an engineer or something, you sort of got to be stern. You can't let them do whatever they want and expect them to get there. I'm sure some will get there, but I'm pretty sure that percentage is small. So you want to push these percentages in your favor like bankers do, right? Exactly. You want to rig this. And this is where we get into like the diaspora of black people, right? The street people versus the urban people, which I would consider myself an urban person versus a street person. I grew up in a city, been around a bunch of people, right? Versus rural people, which I would consider rural, like farm people, versus country people, which I would sort of consider you. I would consider you a country.
Me?
I would consider. I wouldn't consider you a hip. Well, that's because there's a beach a mile away.
But this is
the South.
At the beach. I'm a beach boy.
You know, I would consider beach people. I would consider beach people
people that grew up at the beach.
People who actually like surf, like Hawaiians and Californians who are perpetually at the beach, who live in beachwear.
That's what I call them.
Yeah,
I wear flip flops.
That's not beachwear.
360. What flip flops?
Flip flops in December wear too.
In December though, outside.
Okay, that is.
Okay, that's beach shit. That's beach shit.
Two notches on
that's beach shit. Like if you come to the beach, you'll see niggas in flip flops all year round. 365 days a year.
You will also see.
You won't understand it if you didn't grow up at the beach.
You will also see people in the F-150s with
in the country.
You see it just parked in the lot, man.
Yeah, because they might have came from the country. No, I'm just saying. Look, and Virginia Beach is
them giant ass trucks out to Virginia Beach. That's a country thing, man. That's not.
No. I'm not disputing the fact that Virginia is in the country.
You want to be a beach boy? No, okay, you're a beach boy.
Virginia is definitely in the country, but the part of Virginia that I live in is not in the country.
I know, I agree.
We live at the beach, and when you come to Virginia Beach, you can go to the beach, and you will see houses and buildings and shit like that. Now, if you go to certain parts of Virginia, not too far from here, I'm gonna say you can take a 45, 30, even a 20-minute trip and be in the boonies. 45. Yeah, you can take a 20-minute trip and be in the boonies. I'm not disputing that.
Okay, the country then.
But most of this, like,
but mind you, I'm from New York. You can do
now,
the same thing.
Compared
you
to
can
New
take
York,
another 30-minute trip out over the bridge and be in like
New York is
Connecticut,
the
rural
city.
passes. There'll be deer and stuff going by, and it's a country setting.
Yeah,
it's a bucolic setting.
Exactly.
It's a lovely and handsome setting.
Exactly.
But
you're from the
city.
The
temper of it isn't country.
Yeah, exactly. You're from the city, right?
Like, what's that thing that your mom made me? I'm like, what is this? Hoppin' Jack.
Hoppin' Johns.
Hoppin' Johns.
Now, my dad from the country. He's from Florida. You know what I mean? Like, there ain't no dispute in that. No side of the beach. He from Orlando. You know what I mean?
But see, some people say Orlando isn't the country. That's a Florida city.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, if you was from the beach, if he was from Orlando Beach or Florida or whatever they call it.
But you know, your grandma is from a tiny little Arthurstown.
She's from the country. She's from the rural country. Yeah, like I don't even think they put that on the map. I don't even think they put Arthurtown on the map.
What's it called?
It's called Arthurtown, South Carolina.
I don't even know who Arthur was.
Where is that at?
He had a whole town named after him. Had about 8 people.
It's in South Columbia, South Carolina. That jank had to
way
be
out there.
1 street long.
Yes.
Yeah.
She used to tell us stories about walking around.
My grandma, it was 12 of them.
Flats
yeah.
And walking, she didn't get her first pair of shoes.
See,
12 or something. But you have to remember, my mama will tell you a story.
Yeah. Grandma,
growing up until I was
that's where I got my skills
14,
from.
I thought my mother had 2 birthdays.
Yeah.
2 birthdays.
That's where I got my skills from.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is, I ain't even know grandma was a gangster. Like, for real, I feel like even though, like, how you was comparing, like, the classes of people, in my eyes, there's only 2 classes of people. There's broke people, and there's people who got it. Because I can't even say rich people.
And people who got it.
Exactly. Now, what I mean by people who got it, because at the end of the day, even a person that got millions of dollars can still be not a rich person because their expenses could take away from what they make. So, doggone, but they got it.
You're losing me, but go ahead.
Okay, all right.
They may be following. So go ahead.
Okay, so at the end of the day, you got people that are trying to make money and trying to accomplish things.
The Jacks.
Huh?
The Jacks.
Yeah. The people
like Jack of all trades. Jack is an old term for man, right? If you're a working man, like a lumberjack, like you
got people that have already accomplished the things that they want to accomplish, and they're just adding on to it. You feel what I'm saying? So when you already where you need to be, like almost like what I was talking about with Jay-Z for real. Because so basically, if I aspired to be a lawyer, right, and I am a lawyer, right, I am what I wanted to be. Now I'm just adding on to it. Now, if I'm coming up, I'm going to school. I want to be a lawyer. That. You feel what I'm saying?
So you're adding on to it by saying, now I want to be on the Supreme Court. Or
exactly.
I want to be the
exactly. So, because if I never do anything else, I was a lawyer. You feel what I'm saying? So, so at the end of the day, you know what I mean? So now you got the people that aren't there yet, and they're trying to get there. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I would consider the poor people, or they could even be people that got it, but they not rich. You feel what I'm saying? Because what I mean by when I say people who got it is I can afford to live in a nice house and have a nice car, but at the end of the day, I might have $150 left in my pocket, like somebody who live in an apartment who got a raggedy car and pay all their bills. And now at the end of the day, we both got $150. My lifestyle just better than his. I got it. You know what I mean? But I'm not rich. You know what I'm saying? I can't.
What do you got to say about this?
Yeah, that's how I feel. About classes of people, how you feel how would you break up
this
people?
Is how I view people who got it versus people who don't. It has nothing to do with money to me. It has everything to do with clarity. So money's good to have, but okay, I'm gonna give you a little background. It's gonna take me a little. I'm gonna look at the timer. It's 24 5 now. All right, 30. Give me 90 seconds to pump this out. So I was talking to my man Biz. Peace out to Biz and the NFL squad. So I was talking to him, and he was saying how the demographics say that the generational shift is going on now. So people my age are coming into power, right? So from the time I was old enough to do some government crap, which was essentially was for myself, where mom didn't have to do anything for me, which essentially was selective service.
Yeah.
Did you guys have to do that?
Yeah, I was talking about that one. You had to sign up for
exactly. So just to let the military know how many young men are in the country.
That's all I was telling him about. Remember I was telling you about that?
So I had to do that myself. I had to go down to the post office and sign. But that was the first thing I did for the government. Yeah. If I need to get a permit for my license, my parents had to sign, right? If I need to get a passport, my parents had to sign. So that's the first thing I had to do. I'm supposed to be getting my train of thought. Your issue was
people who got it.
People who got it, right? So.
Not about money.
Right. So thank you. So it's not about money. So I had to do that, and I was like, all right.
It's about character.
But it's.
I understand where you.
Look, I come from. Oh, all right. I was telling you how there's a sea change. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing I had to do. I being brought into the country, and I had to do it because, and I looked this up. During the 60s, people didn't want to fight, and Nixon made this draft thing. We need to know how many people, just in case all hell broke loose with the Russians, and people were burning their draft cards, and they're like, bah. But while they were 18, 19, 20, because they were old enough to fight, up to 35, people were protesting. That I was about 6 months old. So what they were doing affected me then. I didn't know about it. Yeah. Now, fast forward to now, my man Biz says the sea change is, and we spoke about this before, America is always run by people who are 40 years out of date. So you have your Nancy Pelosi's, your Bill Clinton. Well, Bill Clinton was on the young side, but Nancy Pelosi's, Donald Trump is like the oldest president ever in like 78 or some craziness. Meanwhile, everybody in their life is having kids all between the age of 18 and about 35. And now you have 80-year-old people telling you what to do with your vagina at 28. Exactly. You know, you're telling these men what, you have to go and fight this war for, even though you can't buy a house. Exactly. And not only do you have to fight it, you have to fight it for fucking peanuts. Exactly. Like 20 grand. You could die for less than 20 grand a year. That doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, the people sending you don't pay taxes. They rig the system to sit there forever. Exactly. So back to the sea change. I think I'm eating up a lot of this. So back to the sea change. So now all those people, the John, not John Kerry, well, John Kerry's one of them. He got there because he was a 60s radical protester against the Vietnam War, who stood opposite, who's dying of brain cancer, John McCain, who was a war hero during the same period. Like, they were about the same age, different sides of the same 60s argument. Now John McCain is dying in Congress. He's being pushed around in the Senate, rather. He's being pushed around in a walk, and I don't mean to be cold to John McCain. I fully realize his gravitas. He's a serious individual. But the idea is now they're dying. So the next group of people who take over should be either the youngest of their generation, who would be the 60-year-olds, because they're 78, it's about 18 years, or the elders of my generation, who would be between 55 down to about, I want to say 78. So from 55, let's say 68, 78, okay, so from about 55 to about 40-ish. Yeah, right? Because so you want those, so by the time the fat meat of that's 55 to 40-ish, I get your. Because
from about 25 to about 40 is the people that actually make the world go.
Because
we the people that's actually working and getting out and going to the place.
So the high achiever's like this new guy who's going on. He's 53.
Exactly.
Now, while I was chasing bitches and smoking weed, he was studying.
Exactly.
Right. So that gets you get into the meat of it. So it's the high upper echelon. God bless him, even though I don't like his politics. Mm-hmm. You know, then you get to the fat of where people went to parties, they smoked some, they did some, they did the work. Mm-hmm. Like, so we're about maybe 8 years away from that group, 8 to 10 years away from that group. And that group grew up with hippie parents who didn't mind weed, who didn't like all this war, who wanted people held accountable. So by the time those people should be getting in the mix and getting into politics, they'll be the youngest version of what we have now. So now they got to put their time in government. So by the time they get, because it's still going to be 40 years, by the time they get 55, 60, in their 20 years, they get seniority in the government, they're going to start doing shit that they want. Now, who knows by that time. Exactly. They're going to be out of touch again. Exactly. But the idea is we're 40 years out of date, so while we should have had legal weed a long time ago, we will definitely have it in like 10, 15 years because of the element of these people. Exactly. The people who are still fighting against abortion are these people. That'll be settled. It'll be stopped. All these people who are now like, man, wow, black people are getting killed a fucking lot. And I was talking about, those are likely the people who will be like, no, I want him arrested in his uniform out of the fucking police precinct because that's outrageous that he did that. Versus these people who are like, no, come in on your, you know. So it's all this.
Even the thing with like transgendered and gay people, because they back in the day, people were mean to gay people. That's all I got to say about that. You know what I mean? That's
not true.
I mean, I'm telling you, when I say people were
black
mean to gay people,
with everybody.
No, well, I don't mean like when I say people were mean to gay people, it was like it wasn't something that was like cool to bring up. You feel what I'm saying? Nowadays, I feel like they have more freedom. Some people can't help being them. You feel what I mean? Like, so it's like,
but that's not it. They were allowed to do it in a place. They didn't do it, you know. But when you lived in the black community, jazz music,
I'm talking about like the things
we accepted every group. So these pregnant women who would get pregnant and their parents back then, 1902, would throw them out. Yeah. They always had a home in our community where nobody wanted us. So we had, but once they got better, they could go back to their community. And this is why, leading into a new topic, this is why I believe that we have this wide open policy in the black community. People come in, they take our music, they take our ideas, they steal everything from us, and almost without a fight on everything, because black people are so used to feeling other people's.
I felt like they were like you had adding on to what you had said though. I feel like they were outcast, so they had to be accepted by somebody. And
we were all outcast. Okay, but here's the thing: we can't leave our outcast state. They could, right? They could come in and go out.
Well.
Those who pass, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just depends on. Like I said, I'm not getting into what they do. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, the F word was bad back in the day. People used to throw it. We used to play games that had derogatory.
When you say back in the day, how
and I'm only 30, so I'm saying the 90s. That would have been like, that's not. And even that was even worse back then. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just giving it to like back in those days, they might beat a person for being, you know what I mean, like that. Like in our days, it could happen. Like if you dressed like a girl or something, and you know what I mean, it wasn't right, but it could happen. Yeah. But nowadays, that's not happening. You feel what I'm saying? Like you ain't beating nobody for dressing like how they want to dress, and that's it. You feel what I'm saying? And if you think about it, that's gonna be your ass. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying. So at the end of the day, things change as we go on. You feel what I'm saying? Like you said, our older folks want us to, our interracial marriage. You know another? Sure. Interracial marriage.
Keep it going. I'm gonna run.
Interracial marriage is another thing that people who had a major problem with back in the day.
Years ago.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So nowadays, it's nothing. You know what I mean? It just depends on where you at in the world or in the country. You know what I mean? Or how you feel, but it's as a whole, it's not a big deal. You feel what I'm saying? To me, it's not a big deal. But actually, I think Virginia had the first interracial marriage.
Virginia versus Lubbock. Yeah, which is the Supreme Court. That's why they have the
Virginia is for
It's
lovers, baby.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
We
That's what they
stroking
say.
white girls down. We
that's what-
stroking black girls
That's
down.
what they say.
Stroking
there
Puerto
needs to be more.
Ricans down.
Getting in trouble.
Stroking
There
big
used to be
girls
more.
down.
Make love, not war used to be it. Like, I grew up with those
But we
Black
will
Panther
up that
dudes.
pole on your ass. Don't get it twisted. Anyway, I just had to add that in for the city. You know?
What else do we have?
One time.
Shoot, we talked about everything.
Yeah, we still got a little time though.
Let's talk about Akon getting billions of people lights put on in Africa. He got $1 billion credit from China to put lights in different countries in Africa. It was crazy.
Yeah, so use your fame for something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And he had to do it solar power because the oil and stuff, he started getting into politics, and he's like, that's too deep.
Yeah,
especially in
wants to
Africa.
cut, that's what
You know what I mean? He's like,
So you have to undercut those dudes.
Exactly.
And then you have to build a contingent of men who are loyal to you, who will fight for you when they come and try to strong arm and muscle you out of something that you're building.
Exactly.
Because that happens too.
And the crazy thing is, he said that the reason why, what made him want to get power for people is he would go to his grandma's house who still lived in Africa, and he wanted to upgrade her house. And he was like, he was like, even if he wanted to, well, he said, he just told his grandma, at least let me put electricity in your house, you know what I mean? And she was like, nah. And then he got to researching, and he was like, even if he wanted to put electricity in her house, no matter how much money he had,
you have to be connected to
they was off the grid. Exactly. He was like, they were so far off the grid.
Or you have to have power off the grid, like solar power, wind power.
Exactly.
And
that's what he's using.
Water power, like what are those things? Those water wheels.
Yep.
That turn. Yeah, windmill. So yeah, this is look. You could do that shit, and your government will lose its mind because they don't want you to be that independent.
He had to link up with the Chinese to do it.
The Chinese are taking Africa whole hog. It makes no fucking sense. And they want it because there's $1 billion of them. They need the land. Yeah. And the reason America should be in Africa seriously after the dark hand is had.
Exactly.
And it would behoove America to fix the race problem. Every American should be for reparations to end this shit permanently. And then you should send as many black businessmen to Africa as you fucking can. And bury this racist nonsense. I don't understand it. They're gonna let Africa fall to the Chinese.
I was watching this. I'm sorry. I was watching a show called Vice. It's a journalist show that comes on. They were actually talking about how cities like Detroit that are like going down and like bankrupt and stuff. The people were actually taking the metal out of those buildings and selling them to the metal places, but the metal places were getting bought by the Chinese places, which means that they actually
transporting unofficially to China.
Well, it was, I don't know about unofficial, but what the crazy thing that was funny to me is they were showing that they were showing the decline of Detroit, like they were showing like the way that the buildings was being brought down, and then they were showing the upbringing of Hong Kong. It was like the same metal that and stuff that they was taking out of our buildings was building up their city, and it was like crazy the way they showed it.
Are getting played by I support Donald Trump in the fact that I had known these trade deals were bad, and I've always thought, are people being bribed? Are they going over there getting prostitutes and then going, hey, we got, so you get these crappy plans? Are there kickbacks? I mean, we don't look into any of this. We should be looking into war profiteering, for God's sakes, and we don't look into any of this. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, you're gonna. This is one thing that I don't understand. Maybe somebody in the comments can explain it to me. Why are we doing business with the Chinese if the Chinese are essentially our enemies? Why are there Russians living here if Russia is essentially our enemy? You know what I mean? All these kind of things that I don't.
Nah.
No.
The problem is,
people have built. This is why Americans are sort of at war with. So people build. Instead of having a road from one idea to another where everybody can hop on and merge your lane, which you can consider a dialogue, but all going in the same place. It's like people built their own dirt highway roads all over the place, so you couldn't find it if you wanted to. America's foreign policy only ever gets us into more and more wars, you know? And our whole family is military people.
Yeah.
Right.
So, as that goes on, we're perpetually being fucked with by the government. You know, it just, none of this makes any sense.
I say thank Uncle Sam for making me fat and strong, but other than that, I ain't got nothing to do with what they got going on. Stay like that, because I ain't gonna lie, I ain't miss a meal.
They're gonna come. That's what that's
I ain't miss a doctor's appointment. I ate broccoli. I was a healthy kid.
But at the same time, like, fix what's wrong with the place instead of making excuses.
Uncle Sam fed me, but other than that,
not out of the kindness of his heart.
Nah, my parents had to put in work for that.
Exactly.
My mama and my daddy.
Exactly.
I got the right. That's how I feel. Like my granddaddy, all the way there. I'm like, what's Lieutenant Dan, except for ain't nobody die. I had a parent or somebody who fought in every war from the beginning. From the beginning of the time.
Fought in war before the country was found.
That's how American I am. You know what I mean? From all the wars.
You go back like a receding hairline.
Exactly.
Yeah. Whew.
All the wars.
So let's see if we can lighten it up. What are you guys watching? I saw
Black Lightning.
Deadpool.
Not Black Lightning. Luke Cage. Oh,
really? I haven't.
I ain't seen that yet.
Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Watch that.
There's a great show called Churchill's Secret Agents. I think that's on Netflix. I watched that twice. That is just a brilliant little show. I'll link it in the comments. Let me remind myself to link it in the comments. Churchill's Secret Agents, the new recruits. It's so good, and it's short. It's like, I want to say 10 episodes. I like that Netflix does everything on a 13 episode level. Yeah. Whether it's an hour, well, not everything, but like whether it's a half an hour or like an hour. They hover around 13. 13 is a pretty good number. It's a symbolic number for this country. 13 colonies, 13 stars, you know. Yeah. But instead of having 26 of these, I'm like, which episode was that? I can keep my head around 13. I know I'm halfway through it by 6, you know. And then I feel like I'm in the stretch by like 9. Yeah. But yeah, that and what else? I went to the movies. I saw Deadpool. Incredible. I liked it. I saw Ant-Man. I didn't like that. I didn't see the first Ant-Man though. I think I've missed 5 Marvel movies. So I didn't see Age of Ultron. I didn't see the first Ant-Man.
Incredible.
I didn't see the second Thor.
Oh, okay.
So some of that stuff happened in the unfolding of the Avengers movie that I missed. I'm like, yeah. But I saw The Incredibles. That's great.
Oh, you
got kids? Okay, yeah. You got kids? Take your kids to see The Incredibles.
You see Jurassic Park?
I haven't seen Jurassic Park. Every Tuesday is the matinee. We should go next week.
I seen Jurassic Park.
Oh, it don't matter. You see?
They got a new one?
Yeah. Catch your matinees, man. $5. Go see a movie with your boys.
You said when?
Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday.
Cinema Cafe.
Noon. We're gonna go to the movies. We're gonna see a $5 matinee, and then we're gonna come and tell you guys about it.
I'm down with that.
All right.
You know, I'm a busy
Normally,
man.
I see like comedies and like action movies. I'm not trying to see a Gilbert and Sullivan romance piece.
Because I be not.
But if they're blowing up cars and shooting it out, yeah.
I see.
You guys might have witnessed the birth of our movie review show.
Superfly was good.
Superfly? Oh, really?
Yeah, Superfly. Yeah, it's to me. I mean, it was for the ladies. You know what I mean? My girl wanted to watch it again. Yeah.
Superfly, really? Yeah. I thought it was a shoot 'em up.
It's a shoot 'em up, but it was pretty boyed out. You know what I mean?
Oh, I got you.
One of them type movies. Had a whole bunch of pretty boys in it, but it was still
gangsters.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. It was a pimp gangsters.
Right.
Like back in the day.
Mm-hmm. So it was pretty good.
The Players Ball.
Yeah. The Shot coming back on TV. That's another good show.
Man, really? I keep missing that, so I don't even know what that's about.
Yo,
for real.
The Shot it's basically like The Wire, but not as street as The Wire. Like it's still street, but it's not like it's dope fiendish. Like they don't go into like the dope fiends like The Wire went into the. Dope
What if you
fiend.
haven't seen The Wire?
Well, okay,
seen The Wire.
it's a good mixture between police.
Myself on camera.
It's an intertwine between
that's my show
police
right there,
work.
boy.
Between police work.
Is it a police procedural? What they call a police procedural, like Law and Order, tell you like the cop point of view. Hawaii 5-0, send you tell you the cop.
No, it's like a drug
They call that
dealer. It's like a drug cop type of show. So it's like like drug dealer.
Send the
cop.
good guy, bad cop, shoot it out.
Yeah, everybody.
But see, it has three sides to it. It has the cop side, the drug dealer side, and then the people that's caught in between. So it's like the informants or the brothers of the drug dealers or the cousins of the judge or the cousins of the cop or something like that. So you have three storylines that you follow when you watch the show, and it makes it good because they all intertwine and make sense together. Like without one of them, and you can't have.
And what's the name of this show?
The Shot, and the way that it intertwines is so good.
Shot.
Yeah.
Is this the Donald? No, that's the ATL.
That's ATL.
Common.
That's a good movie.
Commons in the Shot.
Yeah.
And
The Shot is super good. The season 2 is about to come on, so y'all check that out.
Is that on Hulu?
It is
Amazon
on
Prime?
Showtime. I
It's on
believe.
Showtime. People are cutting the cord, so a lot of people don't have Showtime anymore.
I'm into that.
Or you gotta get that Fire Stick.
That show that be coming on Power.
Power is the shit.
That's a new
This
show.
Sunday.
That's a new show everybody watching right there with 50 Cent in there.
This Sunday.
Right. Wasn't that the one that has Terrence Howard, wasn't it?
No, that has
what show is that? That's
Power.
Are you talking about what's the name of that show?
You talking about Empire?
Yeah, Empire. Yeah.
On the same show, Power and Empire.
Power flushed Empire. Because Empire was the top show until Power came on, and then Power just went.
Yeah, and that's a show right there.
And now you gotta watch.
You gotta stay tuned to that.
Power's on Stars, I believe.
Stars.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
50 Cent in it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and this is
It's ridiculous.
This is like
you talking about it's one of them shows.
Power.
Luke Cage,
which is on Netflix.
Yep, and then they have another guy that goes along with Luke Cage. It's a white guy. I can't remember. He got like a strong hand. White guy. He's a Marvel guy.
That was last year.
Show.
That's Iron Fist.
Yeah, that's a good show. They go together because they got a show called The Defenders where they all on.
With Jessica Jones, but that's all last year. So we're talking about new stuff.
I mean, I haven't watched any of it. That's why I just got hit.
The last thing you watched in the last month.
Luke Cage got a new season though.
Right,
that's
okay.
Last.
But I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah,
I've been doing other stuff.
But in the last,
sometimes I get burnt out with the comic book stuff, and I love comic books.
I never watch it.
And once I binge Luke Cage, I'll eat the whole thing up in like a weekend.
Yeah.
But it's been out, and I'm just kind of like, ugh.
I like to wait and binge watch it because I hate waiting the next week to see what's gonna happen. Just like now with Power, I'm waiting for the next week.
It's like I like to go to the movies 2 to 3 weeks after the movies come out, just to avoid all the hype. I avoid those spoilers on the web, of course. I generally like after 2 or 3 weeks, after the hype has died down, I see it at a new matinee and I go, huh.
If it's a good movie, I want to see it first because I don't want people ruining and saying everything.
But no one does that. Who does that? Who ruins movies nowadays?
Because you got Instagram and Facebook, so you put memes and all types of stuff.
I have Instagram and Facebook. I don't see any of that.
Man,
no spoiler. I had to stop following freaking the Nerdist because all they do is spoilers. The movie comes out 2 days later. They're doing a show about, and they're spoiling it for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, sucks.
Right.
What else? I guess that's our hour. Unless you guys got something, we can go longer. But
I'm finished. I think it's time for a smoke break.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
A ciggy boy.
Yeah, you gotta quit that.
It's that country
smoke.
shit.
Stop smoking.
It's good.
You get hit by a car.
Tobacco is evil. It's evil.
If you let it,
spend your money on something else. Trust me.
It is
stuff that won't kill you.
right.
Or kill you much slower than tobacco.
Exactly. Like
Said the
pizza.
ex-smoker. I smoked for 20 years.
Well, let me get my 20 in.
I had a cigarette in 10. Right? So the magic of it is knowing that it's killing you, especially if you have little ones. Once you kind of set the idea in the back of your head, it'll begin to percolate and it'll get stronger and stronger. And once I had the idea in my head, it took me, I think, 4 years before I actually set out on it. But I knew once I got a month in, I was going to be an ex-smoker forever. But I think that's the magic of it. It's the idea that knowing you have to quit. And the magic with me is I still like smoking, right? And that was part, no, I wouldn't say part of the problem. So I didn't have to teach myself to hate smoking I just knew I didn't want to do this forever. I wanted to go to some weddings of my nieces and my nephews. You know, I wanted to see, and I didn't beat myself up about it, but I knew I was going to quit. And then by happenstance, I think I got the flu and I couldn't smoke. And I didn't smoke for 2 days, and I tried to ride that out as much as I could. And I did, and that's it. So yeah, but it took me, after putting the idea in the back of my head on the back burner, once my subconscious accepted it, I just knew that my subconscious will help me get there.
Can I end off with this story right
Yeah. I'm not saying
this dude told me a story, right? It was this dude, right? He was sitting on the bench.
Clearly.
It was a dude sitting on the bench. He was an old guy. He was chain smoking cigarettes, just smoking them, right? So, dude was like, "God, Lee, why the old man keep smoking all them cigarettes?" You know what I mean? So he walked up, he was like, "Yo, you know you shouldn't be smoking all them cigarettes." So the old man said, "Yo, I live to be 101." He was like, "From smoking cigarettes?" He said, "Nah, from minding my fucking business." At the end of the day, everybody live long by minding your business and don't stress.
That's ridiculous.
And don't stress.
Hey,
I can respect that.
Look,
I can respect that.
That's crazy. It's a funny joke, but the idea of minding your business gets us nowhere. You know, you need to be involved. You don't want to watch the neighbors run amok. Just like the neighbors don't want to watch you run amok. There's a community standard, right? Home training. That's it.
Definitely.
When we say mind your business, that should entail a small amount of shit.
That's my grandma's favorite saying.
Telling people to get healthy and try not to smoke is not an evil thing. Telling people that if they want to, they can, as long as, tell them your technique is not an evil thing.
When you say...
go ahead. So, essentially... They are blowing up the joint. Essentially, don't pay for something that kills you. That's just logical. And also, don't listen to Nazi ex-smokers who are like, I smoke, and you blah, blah, blah. Those people are just preaching to you. Know that it's money that you could do something else with, and if you got little ones in your life, knock yourself out. However, if you're 65 and you ain't got no kids and you don't give a fuck, keep smoking. But
because when that white horse coming, so he gonna scoop your ass up anyway.
It could be something else.
He gonna swing low on your ass.
It could be something else, but like smoking is low hanging fruit.
True.
Get killed because you're banging like hot twins and their husbands is after you. That makes more sense than smoking.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a more interesting story than emphysema.
Oxygen mask.
Exactly.
Blowing up because you still smoking.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
So, especially since they lied so badly about it not being addictive, I just hate those guys. But again, when I quit smoking, I like to do it. It was relaxing. I thought it was fun.
All this talking about quitting smoking make me want a cigarette.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for us.
Edit that out.
That's it for us. I'm Truist Armor. This is Armor Intergalactic.
T for the P.
Philosophy Flaw.
E for the P and Philosophy Flaw.
Pew, pew.
We will
beamed
see
out.
you likely Friday, because we missed last Friday's show. This is Tuesday. I don't have a calendar around me. It thinks the 10th. We will likely see you next Tuesday.
At the
17th.
Pajama Jammy Jam.
Exactly. We're going to tell you what movies, Philosophy Flaw, and TV.
We having a Pajama Jammy Jam.
Exactly.
Come out and check us out.
Exactly. All right. Peace and hair grease, kids.
Peace out.
All right. I'm posting.